Imagine discovering that right beneath an ordinary American city, or actually, in this case, a really bustling luxury resort, there's just this massive secret underground facility. A place built in absolute secrecy designed to protect the United States government if a nuclear attack destroyed the country. I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, right? But it was entirely real. Welcome to This Explainer. This is the Forgotten Files, where lost stories, hidden truths, and untold history come to life. Today, we're diving into America's secret underworld. We're going to look at the staggering, top-secret continuity of government bunkers built during the Cold War. These were quite literally massive subterranean cities, constructed to make sure the nation's leaders could survive the unthinkable.
Section 1. The Secret Beneath Greenbrier.
So, from the outside, the Greenbrier Hotel looked like your standard, ultra-opulent luxury resort. We're talking 1778 levels of luxury, a place visited by 26 U.S. presidents, and actual European royalty. Rich guests played golf and mingled, completely oblivious to what was hidden right beneath their feet. Because right behind a simple, unassuming door, 720 feet underground, sat the Greenbrier bunker. We're talking 25-ton blast doors and 1,000 metal bunk beds. The government built this underground complex during the Cold War as a literal emergency shelter for the entire United States Congress. Now let's look at the amenities for what was codenamed Project Greek Island. The goal was simple. The government needed to continue working even if Washington, D.C. was completely destroyed. So they built a 400-seat cafeteria, full medical rooms and hospital wings, and separate chambers for both the House and the Senate. Get this, they even built a broadcast center with fake seasonal backdrops. That way, politicians could address their surviving public and pretend they were still in a functional capital, rather than, a concrete box. They even had a trash incinerator that could seamlessly double as a crematorium. Section 2, Project Greek Island revealed. But here's the major problem they faced. How do you keep a massive underground city completely secret from wealthy resort guests for decades? Well, it was a logistical miracle, honestly. The government pulled off this illusion of normalcy through a dummy company called Forsyth Associates. The employees posed as ordinary TV technicians hired to maintain the resort's televisions, but their actual job? Maintaining the bunker's top-secret readiness. Updating the food supply, checking the comms equipment, all of it. Most of the normal hotel workers had absolutely no idea what the real purpose of the facility was. Let's look at the timeline here. When construction started in 1958, normal workers were just told they were building a new above-ground exhibition area. But of course, the real purpose was totally different. By 1962, right in the thick of the Cuban Missile Crisis, the bunker was ready to go. And for more than 30 years, the secret held. It remained completely hidden. But then, in 1992, a journalist named Ted Gupp published a massive expose in the Washington Post. The secret was finally exposed. By 1995, the government officially decommissioned the bunker and opened it up for public tours. The Washington Post called it, quote, the ultimate congressional hideaway, and they really hit the nail on the head there. While a few locals might have had some quiet suspicions, the sheer staggering scale of this congressional bunker completely stunned the American public. Once the secret was out, the underground bunker quickly became one of the most fascinating remains of the entire Cold War.
Section 3. The Cold War Doomsday Plan.
So you have to ask, why was this built? Well, Greenbrier wasn't a one-off. During the Cold War, the United States was terrified that a sudden nuclear strike could wipe out Washington, D.C. This fear led to a federal framework called Continuity of Government, or COG. It was specifically designed to ensure the nation's senior leaders could survive a nuclear attack and keep the country running. The threat of total annihilation was a very real possibility, and it fundamentally reshaped how the government planned for its own survival. And the timing they were working against was absolutely brutal. The incredible speed of Soviet missiles compressed presidential decision-making into mere 15-minute windows. Just 15 minutes. That is less time than it takes to drink your morning coffee. There was literally zero time to figure out a plan on the fly, which meant they needed instant, pre-planned relocations to ensure there would never be a leadership vacuum. The reality of those succession plans is pretty chilling when you look at it. They literally split the presidency into teams. The Alpha team, which actually included the elected president, would remain in Washington, D.C. Basically, they were sacrificed in the opening minutes of an attack to manage the immediate response. Meanwhile, the Bravo team would secretly relocate to the Mount Weather bunker, and the Charlie team would scatter to other covert facilities.
Section 4, Forging America's Fortress.
This brings us to the military side of things, like the famous Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Built deep inside a solid mountain in Colorado, this place became the ultimate symbol of the Cold War. Huge tunnels were literally carved through solid rock to create an indestructible military hub and an alternate command center for NORAD. Large buildings were literally constructed right inside the hollowed-out mountain itself.
Now, carving a fully functioning operations center out of solid granite? Yeah, that doesn't come cheap. We are looking at a staggering $142.4 million. And remember, that's in 1960s money. It really shows a government desperately preparing for an apocalypse that most people couldn't even imagine. To survive that kind of apocalypse, Cheyenne Mountain was essentially built as a sealed-off, self-sustaining city. You've got EMP-hardened construction, a 1.5 million-gallon spring water reservoir, a massive 4.5 million-gallon heat sink, plus huge diesel fuel reservoirs and redundant battery banks. It even housed its own internal medical facilities, a market, and fitness centers. The facility was designed to operate completely independently while the world outside burned.
Section 5, the Federal Relocation Arc. But we really have to zoom out here, because Cheyenne Mountain and Greenbrier were just pieces of a much larger puzzle. Across the country, the government built an entire network of these bunkers, called the Federal Relocation Arc. The core hubs included Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, Project Greek Island at Greenbrier, Mount Weather in Virginia, and the Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania. Ordinary Americans had absolutely no clue that all these secret facilities existed right around them.
Take Mount Weather, for example. This is FEMA's massive underground city in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Remember that Bravo team we talked about earlier? This was their designated destination. We're talking about a sprawling 565-acre complex featuring its own hospital, fire units, and around-the-clock federal police force. It was the absolute epicenter for disaster response.
Then there's the Raven Rock Mountain Complex, located near Blue Ridge Summit in Pennsylvania. A lot of people informally call it Site R or the Underground Pentagon, because that's exactly what it is. This bunker was custom-built to house the emergency command centers for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Again, an entire military command structure just buried under solid rock.
Section 6, the lingering question. Now, while the Greenbrier bunker was eventually exposed, decommissioned, and turned into a really fascinating museum, the story definitely doesn't end in the past. Facilities like Cheyenne Mountain, Mount Weather, and Raven Rock, they remain active today. They are heavily guarded, and a third generation of doomsday staffers are still manning these sites 24/7, waiting for an emergency that we all hope never actually comes.
It brings to mind that saying, sometimes the biggest secrets are hidden in places we see every day. The Greenbrier bunker perfectly captures this. For decades, an entire emergency government facility existed right beneath a luxury resort. People were up there playing golf, going to galas, and almost nobody knew it was there. Which leaves us with one final, very provocative question. How many secret facilities were built during the Cold War that the public still knows absolutely nothing about? The Cold War may be over, but the underground world it created is still beneath America. Silent, hidden, and waiting to be remembered. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep your eyes open because you never really know what's right beneath your feet.